The pain struck like a lightning bolt in the middle of a bright, ordinary morning, the kind of pain that steals breath and dignity at the same time, and the first thought that tore through Mara Ellison's mind was simple and terrifying. Her legs would not move the way they should, and she could not close them no matter how hard she tried. The sun was already high over the Wyoming plains, light spilling across the ranch like nothing in the world was wrong. Yet there she stood in the pasture, heart racing, body betraying her, with a fear so raw it made her feel suddenly very small in the wide, open land she had loved all her life. If stories about kindness, second chances, and quiet miracles speak to your heart, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Soul of Light. Because what happens next is a reminder that compassion still lives in unexpected places. Mara had been raised on that land, raised by dust and discipline, by early mornings and aching muscles, by a father who believed work was prayer, and a mother who believed gentleness was strength. After they passed, the ranch became more than a livelihood. It became a promise she kept every day by waking up before dawn and tending to the animals who depended on her. That morning had begun like any other. The air was crisp but warming fast, meadowlarks calling from fence posts, the cattle grazing lazily as if the world were perfectly balanced. Mara had been checking the lower pasture, making sure the spring runoff had not damaged the fencing, when the sharp pain seized her hips and sent a strange numbness down her thighs. She tried to take another step and nearly fell, catching herself on the rough wood of a post, breath coming fast and shallow. At first she told herself it was nothing more than a muscle spasm or an old injury flaring up, but when she tried to bring her legs together and could not, panic crept in. She felt exposed, not in a shameful way, but in the way a person feels when their body no longer obeys them. The ranch was quiet, no one around for miles, and the silence pressed in on her. She lowered herself carefully to the ground, the grass cool beneath her palms, and tried to assess what was happening. That was when she noticed the calf nearby, a small heifer separated from the rest, pacing and bleeding in distress, eyes fixed on the space between Mara's legs. Confused and growing weaker by the second, Mara reached down, half expecting nothing, half expecting something terrible. Her fingers brushed against coarse fur and frantic movement, and the realization hit her harder than the pain itself. The calf had somehow crawled beneath her when she collapsed, wedged itself awkwardly, its small body trapped by her own rigid muscles. The unbelievable truth settled in. The reason she could not close her legs was because a terrified, living creature was stuck there, struggling for air and warmth, and her own body, locked by shock, had frozen around it. The absurdity of the situation almost made her laugh, but fear swallowed the sound. The calf's breathing was rapid and shallow, its sides fluttering against her palms. Mara forced herself to slow down, to think past the panic. She shifted her weight, inch by inch, talking softly in her head, willing her muscles to respond, but they refused. Sweat rolled down her temples despite the cool breeze. Time stretched thin, each second louder than the last, until she heard the distant rumble of an engine cutting through the stillness. It was Calder Rourke, a neighboring rancher known more for his silence than his kindness, a man carved out of the same hard land but rarely softened by it. He had been driving past when he noticed the scattered cattle and the unnatural stillness of Mara's truck parked at the gate. Something told him to stop. When he saw her on the ground, face pale, hands trembling, the world seemed to narrow for him as well. He took in the scene without judgment, understanding dawning as he knelt in the grass, the sun casting sharp shadows across his weathered face. Without a word, Calder assessed the situation, his movements slow and careful. He steadied the calf first, easing its panic, then turned his attention to Mara, grounding her with presence rather than questions. He supported her back, encouraging her to breathe, to let the shock loosen its grip. The calf stilled as the tension eased, and with gentle coordination they freed it. the small body wriggling free and scampering back toward the herd, unharmed but shaken. Mara's legs finally responded, collapsing inward as the adrenaline drained away. She felt the embarrassment rise, but it was eclipsed by relief and gratitude so intense it made her eyes sting. Calder helped her sit up, then checked her for injuries, recognizing the signs of a stress-induced muscle lock, something he had seen once before in a rodeo accident years ago. He stayed until her strength returned, until the world stopped spinning and the fear loosened its hold. In the days that followed, the story could have ended there, filed away as a strange accident under a wide sky. But something shifted between them, something quiet and lasting. Calder began stopping by more often, helping with repairs, checking on the cattle, never making a spectacle of that morning. Mara found herself healing not just in body, but in spirit, learning to accept help without seeing it as weakness. The ranch felt lighter somehow, as if the land itself approved of the shared labor and unspoken understanding growing between them. What Mara realized as spring rolled fully into summer was that the moment she thought was her most humiliating had been her most human. She had been vulnerable, frightened, unable to stand on her own, and instead of breaking her, it had opened a door. It reminded her that even the strongest people sometimes fall, sometimes freeze, sometimes need another pair of hands reaching down into the mess to pull them back up. If this story has stirred something inside you, if it has reminded you of a moment when kindness changed the course of your life, please take a second to like, share, and engage with this video so more hearts can find it. And before this story ends, leave a comment sharing what kindness means to you, because your words may be the light someone else needs today. The morning sun still rises over Mara's ranch the same way it always has, painting the fields gold. But now when she steps into the pasture, she carries a deeper understanding of strength. It is not found in standing alone under a vast sky, but in allowing others to stand with you when your legs give out and the world feels too heavy to hold on your own.